Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is boy Jamar here once again.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar here once again, here to talk about this week's episode of Rupaul's Drag Race All-Stars 5. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. As y'all can see from the thumbnail, I highly contemplated not doing a review for this episode just because it was so boring. And really just All-Stars 5 as a whole has just been largely underwhelming, and there's not much really to get into. Like, everybody's sort of just playing a regular game. There's very little drama. You have to kind of reach for the drama. Like the India, Shay, Alexis thing was probably the most dramatic thing that's happened this season, and that was just like a he said, she said shit. And it's just kind of like, this is why I wish they could have let Derek Barry stay on the season a little bit longer, but that's neither here nor there. I honestly don't expect this to be very long. There's really not much. I mean, we're gonna still talk about, like, you know, the runways and, you know, the challenges on a bit, but it's just really like highly contemplated just kind of letting this one go. But I'm like, you know what? Let me not do this to them. You know, they've been watching consistently, so I'm gonna keep trying to be as consistent as possible. So let's just go ahead and get on into it. So they're coming back off the hymns of Alexis being eliminated, and a lot of people that I've been watching their recaps and their reviews are all saying how they thought that Alexis would be a top contender for the top 3, or at least the top 4, which I could definitely agree, because I definitely thought that Blair would have went home last week and Alexis would be here this week, but that's just how the cards fell, but it is what it is. So this week they're doing a comedy challenge, okay, where each of them has to do a stand-up routine, talking about their other competitors, or just make some sort of jokes as it goes. And since Cracker won last week, Cracker gets to choose the order for the queens to go in this week. And one thing that I can respect about Miss Cracker is that she is, I mean, a lot of people try to feel like she's fake, she's phony, she's two-faced or whatever. I never really agreed with that. I never really saw that part of her that everybody else is claiming to see, because she was pretty honest and transparent, at least to me, as to why she was picking the people to go in the placement that she gave them, without being like necessarily mean, but just kind of being forthright about it. She put Juju first, followed by Blair, and because she basically said that Blair's gonna bomb and do terribly, I'm gonna go right after her to make me look that much better, and then we'll let Shay close the show. Like, there was no, I felt like that was just brutally being honest, you know what I mean? So, but of course, Juju kind of felt like, you know, I may have been slighted because, you know, going first is kind of like really tricky. But when they went into the rehearsal with Jane Krakowski, she kind of mentioned, like, if you go first, then that means everybody kind of has to base their vibe and their sense of humor off of you. You kind of get to set the pace and the tone. So it's actually somewhat of an advantage. There's nothing for them to compare you to. So now she kind of changed her attitude, like, oh, okay, Miss Cracker thought she kind of fucked me over, but you actually did me a favor, sis, thank you. Which, I mean, I never doubted Jujubee to be funny. Like, Jujubee has been funny this entire season and has been funny in previous seasons. So her doing a stand-up routine, I was not worried about her whatsoever. Is there anything else before the actual challenge that I want to talk about? Not really. Not really. I'm telling you, like, this is gonna be very, like, straight to the point, meat and potatoes of the episode. There's really not much left because there's only 4 bitches left. And there's really no drama between anyone. Everybody really loves each other and respects each other, so there's not much to really too much dive into. With the actual challenge, Juju started off relatively well. Oh, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Juju started off a little bit rough, but eventually got funnier as she kind of got more comfortable. And I think when she nabbed that joke against Miss Cracker, said I was gonna do a blonde joke, but she's sitting right there. That kind of made us laugh. I know it made me laugh, that's for sure. And so she did a really safe performance. It was really good. Blair St. Clair. Oof. ooh-wee. If it wasn't the bad jokes just being mean, because it's comedy is a lot more complex and hard than I think people give it credit, because people feel like, oh, you can just go up there and tell funny jokes about people. And I think people like Bianca Del Rio and even Trixie Mattel sort of make it look easy by them talking about people, and it doesn't, more or less, I mean, they've messed up a couple of times, but more or less they're able to talk about people and people think it's funny, and the people that they're talking about can even laugh at it themselves. Like, there's an art to that. There's a formula, there's an art to it, and I feel like Blair had none of that down. Like, she was just saying completely mean things she was trying to dress it up as a joke, and then when it wasn't funny, on top of that, she was fiddling through with that notebook paper, just like, like Michelle said, I felt bad. I felt bad for her, only because that Blair doesn't normally try to be reading and be funny. Like, even though she did do really well in the reading challenge at the beginning of the season, a lot better than I thought she would. But this, I feel like, just is so far out of her comfort zone that she doesn't really know the cadence of being funny and mean, because there's a very fine line. But it was horrible. I was honestly just waiting for it to be over. I was really just waiting for it to be over, because I'm like, ooh, that was cringe, girl. But she looked cute though. She did look cute. Because her hair and makeup was one, but the act was, it was a chop. It was a chop. Miss Cracker, I mean, honestly, just did what Miss Cracker does and just be funny. I'm glad that she did not get too far in her head this time, and I'm liking how, at least in All Stars 5, that little inner demon that she usually fought with, especially on her season 10, is not present this time. She's kind of allowing herself to be more free. She's, coming out of the box. She's not getting in her own way as much, so I'm happy to see that. She made great jokes. She was just naturally funny. There really wasn't like a low point, at least from what I can remember. And Shea Coulee, I can admire, because Shea was struggling to find material, and the material that she had was, it's still in mostly in reference to her being robbed, considering the whole season 9 thing. And she really had a hard time trying to find material, so she was like, well, if I have bad jokes or if my set isn't as good, at least I want to look great, because that sort of nude illusion, well, not really like a nude illusion, but she had like a little fishnet or some sort of sheer fabric up here at the top around her shoulders, and this really huge tulle, this red tulle gown, and like very minimal makeup, because Shea usually uses cut the crease. There's a whole different eye shape drawn on. She had very minimal makeup on. Looked very fit. Well, I guess fishy is a term of endearment now. She looked very much like a woman, like a cis woman. And she looked gorgeous. I really wish she could have probably used that for a runway at some point, but I guess we're at the end of the competition. There's maybe one more runway left, and it probably wouldn't fit, so it's like, might as well do it now. She looked great. I don't even think her jokes were really that bad. I think she was probably just nervous, but I felt like her confidence was slowly growing as the episode went on. And I think she did fine, honestly. So when it came to the judging, I mean, it was very simple. It was very simple. There really wasn't even a need to put like everybody else in the bottom. So they gave the win to Miss Cracker, which very well deserved. And everybody else is in the bottom because of the stupid All-Stars rules, where it's just like, if you don't win, then you can just go home. I guess if you're All-Stars, there has to be more stakes, so I guess that makes it a little bit more interesting. But come on, I don't know. But let me see, is there anything else that I'm missing? Okay, let's talk about the actual runway. I want to make sure, but before the show or the comedy show was around, I wanted to make sure there was nothing else related to that I wanted to include. So let's talk about the actual runway. This is supposed to be Let Your Freak Flag Fly, which I always have to say slowly because my tongue will fuck it up. This felt very much like this Club Kid runway from season 9, which I didn't mind, because it's usually gives me some of my favorite looks. They're a little bit abstract. That gives you a little bit more room for creativity. This week, it was a little bit more on the meh side overall, because let's talk about it. First, Jujubee. I think, well, 2 of the 4, I think, really were the standouts, I think. So Jujubee was definitely one. She had like this multicolored, multi-fabric, spiky-headed thing going on with the chains. Like, I'm not even sure if this is supposed to be a reference to a creature or if it's just like a hodgepodge or whatever. She was like had like a broken heart. She had like the glitter tears going down her face. It looked aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I will say that. Those 10-inch heels, baby, you better than me. Juju, I could not do it. Could not do it. To be more power to you. And then we get to one of the bad ones. Blair Sinclair, it was a skin-tight little cat suit that was polka dotted with fur balls sort of glued onto it. And one thing about Blair is her hair and makeup is gonna always be blind. The hair and makeup is going to always be right with God, but the costume sometimes, and you know what? It is a shame because when I saw Blair's What's Your Packet with Michelle Visage, and I saw like some of the other stuff that she didn't get to wear, I'm like, bitch, you were holding back, girl. I mean, granted, it probably wouldn't have fit the runway challenge that you may have gotten to do thus far, but some of that other stuff that was made again by Florence D. Lee, shout out to Florence D. Lee in New York City, he designed some amazing shit. He designed some amazing shit for her. But yeah, this catsuit runway, this freak flag runway for Blair was not the tea. It was not the tea. But what was the tea was Miss Crackers. She came out in now I could not for the life of me remember where that crow is from. I know it's like something in reference to like a horror movie or something scary, like with a mad doctor or something. But she came out with the I don't know if it's like a doomsday crow thing. And when she revealed it, she kind of had like a nude-esque, I want to say it's burlesque, but some sort of, I don't know, something makes me think of like a witch dungeon type of thing going on with her bodysuit. And she had like the one contactee and the long black Morticia hair. And this was probably no, I still think Jujubee's had my favorite look of this week, but this was definitely the other strong look for the week. And we followed by Shay. I don't know, Shay just did not do it for me this week. I mean, it was okay, but it was just like, I imagine some of the things that Shay has done that has just been so beyond that I kind of expected more. You know what I'm saying? So now we've reached the end of the competition. At least we're gonna still talk about the lip sync, or child, like they're up. And actually, you know what? Let's get that out the way, child, because this week for both Canada's Drag Race and All Stars 5, these lip syncs were piss poor doo-doo. Okay? What made it worse is that you brought Kennedy Davenport. Kennedy Davenport, who has given you some of the best lip syncs on the show and who is a dancer. You brought her back to sing and lip sync to a Reba McEntire song? And I will say, Miss Cracker, you were funny because when she saw that it was her that she was gonna have to lip sync, she just kind of just politely walked off stage like, no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not doing this. But I was watching them, I'm like, child, Kennedy can barely, like, she can't, like, this isn't something that she can really put herself into, like, to really give us the show. So, I mean, even Miss Cracker wasn't really given to do much, but you know, Miss Cracker's not really the best at these type of lip syncs. She's just never been the best at these. But I mean, she won the lip sync, so she got the tip. But I'm just like, wow, in what world does Miss Cracker beat Kennedy Davenport in the lip sync? That's where we're at in 2020. Like, oh, this episode, I'm telling you, it was rough. It was rough. But we reached the end of the competition, so now we have to ask. Well, of course, Blair got eliminated. Blair had the worst runway and the worst show in the performance. There was nobody else. There's no way you could have allowed Blair to go into the top 3 and had not one challenge win. There's just no way. Cracker has 3, Shay has 2, and Jujubee has 1. So there's nobody else. But I want to know what you guys think of how this finale is going to go, because when they before the end of the episode, RuPaul got some call to somebody and then act like, you know, like she was distressed, like somebody was coming back. I'm like, what is this? But then next week we see that all the girls are gonna come back for a reunion type episode. And I'm like, okay, so what is this? What's happening with this? Is that what the call was? Because otherwise, whatever. RuPaul's Drag Race being RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm not gonna try to interpret why they do the things that they do. But I'm very interested to see this new little like clapback single thing that they're gonna try to do. Usually these are like my favorite episodes, like the finales, if they're good. All Stars 4 finale thing was nah. That like rock version of Super Queen or whatever that was. Nah, they could have kept that. Is there anything else that I want to mention? Honestly, no. The episode was very blah. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all, but it was boring as hell. I'm trying to make it better than what it was. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you still enjoy just talking about it at any rate. I definitely appreciate all the love and support you guys have given me up through this point, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Like, share, subscribe.
Washington.